Welcome steps Angola has taken to fulfill its obligations under the Convention on the Rights of the Child, including introducing a Children's Act. Australia recommends that Angola continue to introduce legislation to fulfill its obligations under the CRC. Australia commends Angola for measures put in place to implement CEDAW, but we are concerned by reports that measures to combat violence against women have not been implemented. Australia recommends that Angola implement fully the 2011 law against domestic abuse and continue its efforts to fulfill its obligations under CEDAW. Australia is very concerned by reports of repressive measures taken to restrict freedom of expression, association and assembly. Australia recommends that Angola respect the right to peaceful assembly in accordance with Angolan and international human rights law, take steps to decriminalise offences in line with international standards, and ensure journalists and human rights defenders are not intimidated. Persistent reports of human rights abuses in Angola, in particular forced evictions, violent removal of street traders and arbitrary detentions are of great concern. Australia recommends that Angola immediately cease all forms of forced displacement in accordance with the applicable international humanitarian and human rights law and the Guiding Principles on Internal Displacement 1998. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank you, Madam. Azerbaijan has the floor.
Mr. President, Azerbaijan welcomes the delegation of Angola and thanks the esteemed delegation for the presentation of its national report. Since the first Angola PPR, the government of Angola improved its normative legal framework to promotion and protection of human rights. In this regard, we appreciate the ratification of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and its optional protocol, and the UN Convention against Transnational Organized Crime and its additional protocols. At the same time, we commend the signature of International Convention on the Elimination of all forms of racial discrimination and Convention against Torture, and recommend Angola to continue its efforts for ratification of the above international documents. Azerbaijan possibly knows that the government of Angola carried out many activities to strengthen its national institutional infrastructure for the protection and promotion of human rights. In this regard, we welcome the establishment of the Ministry of Justice and Human Rights, which is the main national institution in Angola working in the field of human rights. Azerbaijan also recommends Angola to continue further improvement of the legislative framework regarding the rights of women in Angola. In conclusion, the delegation of Azerbaijan wishes to witness further progress in the protection and promotion of human rights in Angola. Thank you for your attention.
I thank you. Next speaker is Bangladesh. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. My delegation welcomes the delegation of Angola. Mr. President, we commend the efforts of the Angolan government to overcome the challenges and impediments faced by it being an LDC like Bangladesh. The commitment of the country as regards the promotion and protection of human rights is evident in various measures undertaken. The approval of the Constitution of the Republic of Angola in February 2010 and the 2012 general elections be a testimony to that. We commend also the integrated municipal program of rural development and the fight against poverty that includes water fraud program and the national food and nutritional security strategy. The country has also exhibited progress in the primary health care. These efforts bearing good results need to be enhanced by international cooperation through a frank and open dialogue based on respect for the country's sovereignty. Mr. President, Bangladesh acknowledges the challenges and impediments Angola faces, including lingering scourges of the long-drawn civil war. Despite efforts, many areas have not yet been completely cleared of landmines. CRC recommended that Angola continue to raise the awareness of children about the dangers of landmines and speed up the landmine removal efforts. We would like to hear from the esteemed delegation of Angola about the measures to address this recommendation. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank you. Le prochain orateur est la Biélorussie.
Next speaker is Belarus, sir.
Thank you, President. We welcome the delegation of Angola and thank it for the presentation of its national report. Our delegation has noted the broad scope of international obligations Angola has taken upon itself in the area of human rights and the fact that it has acceded to many international agreements over the past review cycle. We note with satisfaction the decisive action of Angola to improve the national system to promote and protect human rights. The government has objectively acknowledged the outstanding difficulties which have been pointed out by treaty bodies and other human rights mechanisms and is working consistently towards overcoming them. We would like to recommend that Angola continue its decisive efforts to make progress in fighting poverty and in overcoming social inequity. Thank you.
Je vous remercie, Madame.
I thank you, Madam. Belgium has the floor.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, President. Belgium welcomes the efforts made by the government of Angola to provide a positive follow-up to the outcome of the first UPR cycle, especially by the ratification of a number of international treaties and their protocols, as well as an enhanced dialogue with civil society. My country encourages that Angola pursue such measures in order to better protect human rights. Despite some positive developments, there are still several outstanding concerns for my country, especially with respect to the restriction to the freedom of expression, which occasionally takes the form of the repression of peaceful demonstrations which question certain policies of the government. And we therefore recommend that the authorities of Angola fully respect the freedom of expression, opinion, association, and peaceful assembly in keeping with Angola's obligation under the ICCPR. The second topic of concern for my country is the right to education. Though progress has been achieved, there is not yet universal enrollment, and my country recommends that the Angolan authorities take measures